In the top stories, government officials address the people at town hall meeting in Newtown. Prime Minister Harris outlines promises kept since his government took office. And Minister Librod emphasizes the importance of good governance. The details on these stories and more after the break. Hello and welcome to the Zarizer Channel 5 newscast. I'm Kyla Barrage. The Team Unity Administration hosted its third in a series of town hall meetings entitled Good Governance and Accountability for Prosperity at the Newtown Community Center on Tuesday evening. Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris led members of the cabinet during the meeting and presented updates on the stewardship of his administration ahead of its second anniversary in office. Other speakers at the meeting included Parliamentary Representative for Constituency Number 1, Honorable Ian Patches Librod, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Honorable Vincent Byron, and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, Honorable Mark Brantley. Nationals and residents were given the opportunity to ask questions or present criticisms, as the town hall meetings are by the people and for the people. The Good Governance and Accountability for Prosperity Town Hall was carried live on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM and ZIZ Television Channel 5. Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris used his presentation at Tuesday's Town Hall meeting to emphasize the promises that the Team Unity administration has kept since taking office. He specifically referenced to the reconstruction of the People's Employment Program, or PEP, into the Skills Training and Employment Program, or STEP, noting that it's part of his government's commitment to the development of the people.
Performance matters. Performance matters because the people of the country matter more to us. That is what has happened. You flip through the manifesto cover. Guarantee that program like PEP will continue and be upgraded to STEP. Well, next Thursday we launch STEP. Promises made, promises delivered.
He also noted that the government is committed to the safety and security of the nation and referred to the Ministry of National Security's budget allocation as the largest in history.
That is why this year we have expended already $5 million to bring the city CCTV cameras all around Bastille and Shadwell and Keyon and Charlestown, because there must be peace in the land again. Peace in the land. And we are saying these investments are important.
Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris. Good governance was a topic of discussion for Representative for Constituency Number 1, Honorable Ian Librod, during Tuesday's Town Hall meeting at the Newtown Community Center. Minister Librod said good governance is more than integrity in public life, freedom of information, and public accounts committee.
Good governance, my family, is a people-to-people movement. It is a vibrant interaction between the people, between structures, between processes that support the exercise of a legitimate authority. It's about people, and we are here. We are here to count to you the people. That is what good governance is all about.
He noted that good governance plays a major role in the success of any government.
Good governance, my family, has become the yardstick by which the success of nations and the quality of governments are being measured. On the other hand, bad governance is the yardstick by which the failure of governments is measured.
The Good Governance and Accountability for Prosperity Town Hall meetings continue on Tuesday, February 14th in Challengers Village. The Government of National Unity's week of activities to mark its second anniversary in office will begin with a church service and a gospel extravaganza on Sunday, February 12th. The church service will be held at 8:30 a.m. at the Immaculate Conception Roman Catholic Church at East Independence Square. It will be followed by a gospel extravaganza at Greenlands Park at 6:30 p.m. with renowned American gospel singer and songwriter Jonathan Nelson. Backed by his vocal ensemble Purpose, Nelson released his major label debut, Right Now Praise, in 2008, followed by Better Days in 2010. He then released the #1 gospel album Finish Strong in 2013. His most recent album Fearless debuted in 2016 with songs such as My Hope, Name of the Lord, You Are Good, Rehoboth, Amazing Love, Everything You Are, I Give You Glory, Brand New, and Forever Settled. He is also well known for the hit I Believe, also known as So Long Bye Bye. The gospel extravaganza will also feature several local entertainers, including Radical Praise, African Worship Team, Ali D, and Orville Liddy. After the break, Police Commissioner says recent gun seizures have helped homicide investigations, and Ministry of Culture recognizing 2 persons for their consistent commitment to Carnival. We'll tell you more when we come back. Commissioner of Police Ian Creeley says the police's efforts to take illegal guns off the street have been helping investigations into homicides in St. Kitts and Nevis. At the Prime Minister's press conference, the Commissioner said there are at least 5 cases where guns that were picked up off the street were identified as the weapon used in homicides.
There was one instance where one firearm is connected to about 4 or 5 homicides. And that is because of the acquisition of the comparison microscope that we got last year. We were able to match those rounds. So in essence, the firearms that we pick up, they are analyzed for forensic. And once there is a connection, we'll be able to proceed.
According to a police source, for 2017, officers have confiscated 3 illegal guns so far. In 2016, the police seized 36 illegal guns. Meanwhile, the government will be hosting a crime reduction symposium at the Marriott Resort on Thursday, beginning at 9. It will be carried live on ZIZ Radio and TV and will be streamed online at www.zizonline.com. Positively Inclined's founder Irvin Welsh says he's optimistic about the Federation with respect to seeing crime and violence remedied. Welsh has been writing the manuscript of a book called Decoding Deviance, which looks at the roots of crime and violence. Welsh says that while there are calls for all hands to be on deck, nobody really understands what that means, and some of the interventions thought solutions are merely problem themselves.
We do a lot of movement, there's a lot of motion, and so we see all of that. But at the end of the day, if you're treating the wrong illness, you're going to have even worse results. And that's exactly what we're seeing at this particular point in time. You have to address the social, economic problems that people are facing, and putting them in prison doesn't solve that. As a matter of fact, it worsens it. Capturing them, if you're focused on the process of capturing a problem, even CCTVs, for instance, you focus on capturing a crime in the process of being taking place, you haven't solved the problem.
Welsh also made a call for a better evaluation in the crime situation to see which steps should be taken.
I think, quite frankly, the thinking needs to happen on the part of the government. The thinking needs to be in recognizing and understanding what the problems are. I don't think that message, everything is appropriate for a particular place, but I don't think that message is appropriate for the targeted audience. I think they need something different. And so I think it's for them to start to think and recognize what the problems are before they act.
The book, which will be free to the public, is the first step in Positively Inclined's response strategy, focused firstly on enabling others to understand the problem before attempting to address it. Winston, Zach Nisbet, and Janet Johnson were recognized at a brief ceremony on Monday for the continuous contribution of their time, knowledge, and resources in the development of Carnival. Chairman of the St. Kitts and Nevis Carnival Committee, Noah Mills, said Mr. Nisbet has been a tremendous stalwart in the nurturing of culture for many years, while Ms. Johnson has not only contributed as a participant, but as a coach, chaperone, and consultant as it relates to pageantry and similar competitions.
No doubt, I can venture to say that when these individuals perform and present their responsibilities, duties, and services, they are oftentimes contractually engaged. However, the Carnival Committee and the Minister, we both would have agreed that what we're here giving today is a token beyond that. So separate and apart from whatever they would have gained from offering their services, it's not as if they would have been engaged by us. We saw the significance, we saw the hard work.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Culture, Honorable Sean Richards, said that what both individuals have been contributing goes beyond Carnival.
It is about the preservation, it is about sustaining, it is about maintaining our culture here in St. Kitts and Nevis. It was only last week that I actually was at the opening ceremony for History and Heritage Month and made the point that our history, our heritage can only be maintained, it can only be sustained and further developed if all of us do make that concerted effort to contribute towards it.
The minister also expressed that the Ministry of Culture and the government as a whole are appreciative of both Nisbet and Johnson's work and said they hope that the partnerships will continue in the years to come. As part of Literacy Week of activities, the Tucker Clark Primary School hosted its T-shirt day and exhibition on Wednesday. Cheryl Flanders tells us more.
A number of students were seen wearing their purple T-shirts as they took ZIZ on tour of their literacy exhibition on Wednesday afternoon as part of the school's Literacy Week celebrations. During the tour, grade 4 teacher Ayana Hanley explained that her classroom's display included a verb race, simple nursery rhymes, and a game called Sight Word Bingo.
Now this game is the use of sight words that give students trouble throughout their reading and their phonics. So here's a game to help them. Instead of using numbers in bingo, we use sight words instead. This is the card, the bingo card with the words. These are the chips. Once the person who is reading the words call the word, the player puts a chip on the card once they have the word. If they do not have the word, they have to wait until another word is called. Once the player gets all words, whether in a row, coming down, going across, or diagonal, then they can shout out bingo.
Grade 1 student Janae Caesar Knight gave ZIZ a run-through of her classroom's display dubbed Ice Cream Vowels.
The game is called Ice Cream Vowels. So you have to take out an ice cream and put it on one of these. And you have to sound it out and put it on the cone. If it start with A, E, I, O, U.
The students displayed their various stalls, including the Magic E-Word Game Corner, the Nursery Rhyme Memory Game Corner, the Word Wheel, the Poem Puzzle, the Wall of Nursery Rhymes, the 5 W's for Good Readers Corner, the Parts of Speech Corner that also showcased the poems written by the students, Grammarville, and the Antonyms versus Synonyms Popsicle Showdown. ZIZ was also given the opportunity to visit the Contractions Corner, the Homophone Matchup, and the Sight Word Fan section. We also took part in Antonyms Snakes and Ladders, as well as the Antonyms Word Find. The Literacy Week of activities continue with an elocution contest on Thursday and wraps up with a grand literacy parade on Friday morning. The Tucker Clark Primary School's Literacy Week of activities is being held under the theme Promoting Literacy, Stimulating Creative Minds. Reporting for ZIZ News, I am Shaira Flanders.
Coming up, preparations heat up for Tobago's Carnival, and the investigation continues into leaking of nursing exam papers in Guyana. The details when we come back.
Love is in the air at Courts. Make your credit purchase of $499 and over for your big chance at winning an all-inclusive weekend getaway for two to the lovely island of St. Lucia. Plus, when you shop, you pay nothing for 30 days. This offer valid from February 6 to 18. Love is in the air, so celebrate with a romantic weekend getaway. Don't wait. Shop at Courts today. Courts, bringing value home.
With Carnival only a few weeks away, preparations seem to be heating up in Tobago. CNews' Patricia Nicholson has the details.
$10.5 million is the budget for Carnival in Tobago for 2017. This announcement made by Chairman of the Tobago Carnival Committee, George Leacock, at a Carnival press briefing on Monday evening. Mr. Leacock said this figure isn't much different from last year when $10 million was allocated.
If you want to do a comparison, it is about the same amount of money that was allocated last year. And if we look at areas of expenditure that we had last year that are being reevaluated at this time, it seems to me that it would actually turn out to be more money from a productive perspective.
Mr. Leacock promised a carnival with a difference as he and his team plan to incorporate all aspects, mass, pan and calypso, with pan taking center stage this time around.
I think, and this is my personal opinion, that the coming into being of this thing called the special interest groups and pan and mass and so on has caused too much of a separation of Carnival. A separation that has some pan people believing that after Panorama, Carnival is done for them.
He said pan will be included in every aspect of the carnival production in Tobago. Some changes have been made to the parade route in Scarborough for a longer parade through the streets.
We're talking about the Old Market car park to the Shore Park complex. 2 miles a mass. Can you make it?
Mr. Leacock said Old Mass, Juve, Traditional Mass and the Pretty Mass will be a part of the carnival production in Scarborough and Roxborough. I'm Patricia Nicholson for CNews.
In Guyana, the police continue their investigation into the alleged leak of nursing examination papers. Minister of Public Health, Waldo Lawrence, announced that the students who wrote that particular examination will have to rewrite it. HP's Warden James has more.
Nursing students who wrote the clinical and functional examination last October were informed that the examinations paper had been leaked and therefore they would have to rewrite the exams. The announcement had sparked a protest as students believed the accusations were false. The police were later called in by former Health Minister Dr. George Norton. The new Public Health Minister, Waldo Lawrence, on Monday explained that a 4-month-old impasse has almost come to an end.
The Ministry of Education will act on behalf of the Ministry of Public Health. So 1, to engage its personnel, to prepare the multiple choice questions, 2, to administer those questions on the 21st of February, to have a group of persons recruited to mark the essay part of the questions, and so on the 28th of February, it is expected that the results from the examinations will be presented.
The declaration of the results will be no later than March 4, the minister explained. Some 150 students were affected.
During this period, The Nursing Council have agreed to provide tutoring for those students who are involved, because not all of the students who wrote the examinations did both parts. So it would be only those students who would have written the multiple choice aspect of the examinations. And this will be for all the students from all the nursing schools.
Additionally, the minister said that she has met with the Nursing Council and students and that all parties have agreed with the new approach. One of the student nurses, a representative of the student body, expressed his gratitude.
It has been stressful on our behalf. It has been very disturbing. However, we're just grateful that it has come to a resolution, and it seems fair that this will benefit both us as students and the nursing profession in a whole.
Minister Lawrence said that she has not yet received word from the Guyana Police Force with regards to the state of investigation, but assured that investigations are continuing. Royden James, HGP Nightly News.
Coming up, European governments to strengthen borders along former refugee route, and Russian opposition leader found guilty of embezzlement. The details when we come back. Government agencies from 16 European countries have agreed to work more closely to strengthen borders along the former refugee route to Europe. The officials met in Vienna to discuss a so-called Plan B in case a deal to return refugees to Turkey collapsed. But for the people desperate to escape war and poverty, tensions are boiling over. Here's more.
The confrontation was extraordinary. The Greek migration minister heckled as he arrived at Elleniko camp in Athens on Monday. For a time, the refugees and migrants, angry about deteriorating circumstances and worsening weather, barred him getting in. His visit was in response to local media reports of a mass hunger strike in protest at poor conditions. The minister says the reports are false.
There is no hunger strike at the camp. Whether there will be one tomorrow or the following day, either here or somewhere else, that's something I can't know.
While the minister was eventually allowed in, it's clear tensions in the camp on the site of Athens' old airport haven't completely subsided. Many residents, young and old, simply feel trapped. Like Afghan refugee Samir, who no longer believes he and his family will ever get the help they need.
We have only 20 minutes in all the day, hot water. I will say, fix for me. He said, okay, we can fix it for you, but maybe you need a lot of time. 1 year I'm living, they don't bring for us new clothes. No pants, no shirts, no something, no the jacket.
Samir doesn't even have a pair of shoes. Just these slippers, which can't keep his feet dry, let alone warm.
I don't think they will change anything. Like 1 year ago. They're just talking.
Activist Petros Konstantinou, who is also a city councillor, says the situation is only getting worse. He isn't surprised there's growing anger.
The big problem is the statement between the European Union and Turkey that closed the borders and forced the refugees to stay in this country. This brings desperation to the refugees.
Inside Elleniko camp, the atmosphere is grim. While residents do their best to keep their surroundings clean and children do their best to keep their spirits up, the hopelessness is apparent.
Around 650 migrants and refugees live here inside the old departure terminal. And while Greece's government has pledged to do more to improve their living conditions, all the migrants and refugees we've spoken with here say they believe Greek officials are not keeping their promises.
Amid the sadness and despair, there is also irony. For these migrants and refugees who want nothing more than to move on with their lives and are now trapped in a space that used to symbolize transit and travel. Mohammed Jamjoum, Al Jazeera, Athens, Greece.
A Russian court upheld a guilty verdict for opposition leader Alexei Navalny in his retrial for embezzlement. Navalny, the driving force behind massive anti-government protests in Moscow in 2011 and 2012, has been handed a 5-year suspended sentence. The verdict could have implications for next year's presidential election. Here's more.
Opposition leader, anti-corruption campaigner, presidential hopeful, and once again convicted criminal. Alexei Navalny has seen plenty of Russian courtrooms. This retrial repeats the guilty verdict a court in the city of Kirov handed down 3 years ago. That sentence was first suspended, then overturned. Wednesday's reconviction, he says, is a message from on high regarding his 2018 presidential bid.
What we've seen here is a sort of message from the Kremlin, simply a message saying they believe that I, my team and the people whose views I voice are too dangerous to allow to take part in the election. This is what the election battle boils down to now. We don't recognise this ruling. This ruling will be overturned. I've every right to take part in the election according to the Constitution, and I will do so.
What he hopes to exploit is a discrepancy in Russia's laws. Presidential election legislation says that no one with a serious conviction, whether or not the sentence is suspended, can run for public office. Now, as Navalny points out, though, the Constitution differs. It says that as long as the person, he or she, is not in jail, any citizen can be elected. He's campaigned for public office before. In 2013, Navalny ran for Moscow mayor, coming second behind the Kremlin's preferred candidate. Combine proven political appeal with his fearless criticism of Russia's elites as a bunch of crooks and thieves, and it adds up to a big headache for the leadership. For years, Navalny has walked a fine line between freedom and imprisonment. The Kremlin seems wary of making him a martyr, and that continues with this suspended sentence. Navalny is a problem the Kremlin still hasn't got a proper answer for. Rory Challens, Al Jazeera, Moscow.
Up next in sports, Bastien High House captains speak with Zarezet about the upcoming sports day. And Gabon's basketball stars are on the rise. Stay tuned.
Love is in the air at Courts. Make your credit purchase of $499 and over for your big chance at winning an all-inclusive weekend getaway for two to the lovely island of St. Lucia. Plus, when you shop, you pay nothing for 30 days. This offer valid from February 6 to 18. Love is in the air, so celebrate with a romantic weekend getaway. Don't wait. Shop at Courts today. Courts, bringing value home.
The students at Bastia High are getting ready for their annual sports day slated for next weekend at the Kim Collins Stadium. Theo Clark spoke with some of the sports officials ahead of the big event.
The Bastia High School Sports Meet will be held here at the Kim Collins Stadium on the 19th of February 2017. So far, the athletes have been preparing for this big day. Today we have Ms. Jeffers from Greenhouse and Mr. Byron from Red House, the house masters, and for years Green has been struggling, Red House has been doing the same thing, so we'll find out from Ms. Jeffers and Mr. Byron what is the reason why the houses have been struggling so much. We go ladies first, and we go to Ms. Green. Jeffers.
Hi. Why have we been struggling? This is a tough one. I don't like the word struggling.
Can I say competing not to what you want on the level that you think the athletes can deliver?
You see, because Green, we are tsunamis, and if you know anything about a tsunami, it takes time. So you have to watch it creep up, because when the wave comes, it starts with a calm, and then it just take over, sweep everybody and everything, move up my way. So watch it creep up.
You mentioned struggling, and I want to say the same thing like Ms. Jeff was. Struggling, no. We went through a phase just like any other house. When I used to go Bastille High, Blue House had went through a phase, Orange House went through a phase, and I guess now it's red and green turn now to go to the phase. I coming out of the phase right now because this year there's a difference with our athletes, there's a difference with the whole house, the energy towards sports there in general. It's been tremendous this time around, and it shows in the points, pre-sports points, shows in the overall points. I think overall we came 4th last year, not last, we came 4th. And this year we have maintained a 3rd place position overall.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Miss Jeffers of Greenhouse and Mr. Byron of Red House. Wear something green, wear something red. You realize a split down in the middle. I'm not supporting red nor green. Wear something green or wear something... All right. And come out to the Kim Collins Stadium on the 19th of February for the Bastille High School sports meet.
The game of basketball has strong roots in Europe, Asia, and the Pacific, and now the NBA is hoping to cultivate stars in parts of Africa. Al Jazeera's Paul Rees reports from the capital of Gabon, Libreville.
A global game with millions of dollars on offer to those at the top. But for the vast majority in Africa, basketball is played simply for the love, with three-pointers and slam dunks the only rewards.
This sort of neighbourhood pickup game is how nearly every professional player in the world has honed their skills. But the route to the big leagues is much more complicated from here than on the streets of Philadelphia or Los Angeles.
Tony Basugu is a star on this court in the Gabonese capital, Libreville. But a struggling domestic league has left him with few ways to follow his dreams of turning pro.
Here it's hard. There isn't any proper support for basketball. It's all on you. The Gabon Championship is dying. I want to go abroad, either to Europe or the NBA. That's my aspiration.
But change is in the air. A training program led by former Gabon international Willie Aseko is providing a nursery for basketball and has attracted interest from the NBA as the league tries to develop talent and ambition from the continent. The programme also focuses on skills off the court to prepare youngsters for working life.
It's all about what you will do to impact the community. This is basketball. They should keep on dreaming. They should dream about the NBA. Gabon and Africa can be targeted by all the scouts worldwide, not even in the US, also in Europe. You see those kids while they are crying, they love basketball. They love this game.
Gabon has produced only one NBA player, but the league's officials also visited these children last month. And they may not have to leave Gabon to go pro. The Libreville Azobe are about to start training for the second season of the Professional African Basketball League. 6 teams from across the continent compete in the tournament, which aims to commercialise basketball in Africa on the NBA's model.
It's important for me to play here because Gabon is my country, and it gives me great pleasure to help the game and the players here. I was in Morocco for 4 years, but this year chose the African Basketball League to help raise my professional level.
Tony Basugu and his teammates will keep aiming higher from rough beginnings. Future African generations may be given more of a lift. Paul Rees, Al Jazeera, Libreville.
The champions weren't spurred by the bad weather as rain and snow marred the Super Bowl parade. Johnny Nelson reports.
An open-top bus parade in the midst of rain and snow. Clothes damp, spirits very much high. This is the way the New England Patriots celebrate winning the Super Bowl. Tens of thousands of jubilant fans braved the frozen squalls to welcome home their 5th Super Bowl title, as players seemingly mounted any large vehicle they could get their hands on, from carriages, the back of lorries, and even a big boat. Tight security marked the occasion, with the parade route including the Boston Marathon finish line, where 3 spectators were killed and 260 wounded in bombing attacks in 2013. But a heightened police presence and bad weather did nothing to dampen the spirits of MVP quarterback Tom Brady and head coach Bill Belichick. The Patriots remarkably overturned a 25-point deficit to defeat the Atlanta Falcons in the final, pulling off the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. And after that emotional roller coaster, the new champions were certainly going to enjoy their moment in the snow.
When we come back, we'll have another look at the stories that made the headlines. Recapping the top stories, government officials address the people at town hall meeting in Newtown. Prime Minister Harris outlines promises kept since his government took office. And Minister Librod emphasizes the importance of good governance. And that's the end of the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Berridge.